Okay. I was given a parking ticket this week for parking in a no parking zone. The other 3 cars that were also there never got one. It was only me. Police need to stop singling out certain cars for ticket money. I'm sorry, move. Many others I know are pissed at them too for false tickets. So for this, I would say we have an appeal committee, and an appeal representative for SGA. So if you would like to appeal this issue, you can bring it to the appeal committee and we will look at it. This is also something you can talk about with Chief Smith. If you feel like your car specifically is being singled out, you can talk to her. I'm not sure if she's not here. Okay. The next question is the Brownsville lot needs to be paved. So this is something that we know about in SGA. A lot of students have been complaining about the Brownsville lot. We are working on that with the parking committee, and we understand that there's also a parking issue.
Yeah, Ariana, let me just weigh in on that too. We are going to bring this up with UAC. We have a committee that, we have a parking committee that works through the University Advisory Committee at Council as well. And we will take a look at, the things that are happening. I will tell you part of the issue, one of the things too, is we are looking at the cost of maintaining the lots and whether the $40 that we collect from those that do pay, as you know, residents don't pay that 40. It's free parking, which is very unusual. No other campus does that. We're gonna have to look and see how much it's gonna cost us to fix the lots as we move forward, especially with me taking into consider snow removal and other aspects as well. I certainly don't want to use tuition money to fix parking lots. So, but we are on it. I've seen those issues coming up. So thank you again for mentioning it.
Okay, the next question is switch to Pepsi and get rid of Coke. This is something that we can mention to the Food Advisory Committee. We plan on having another survey being brought out for students to see what their interests are and what they would like to see on campus. So we can definitely add that to our agenda. Panera as a food option. That is another thing that we can bring to the committee and add to our agenda. The overflow lot needs to be paved badly. Many potholes and cracks that tear up tires. So this is something else that we can add, like Dr. Nowaczyk said. You can talk about with the UAC, more potholes, more parking issues. So we will definitely add that. Tons of marijuana use in Brownsville. It reeks every night and it stinks up the building. So I do have an RA who is also an SGA who we can bring to the RHA meeting for the Brownsville RAs if there is a marijuana problem. I did not know this, so thank you. There's an SGA member in here nodding their head, so I guess this is a big issue. Better food and get real food that's not kosher or vegan, like real sausage and real bacon. That's not turkey sausage and turkey bacon. So this is something that you can definitely submit the complaint to the Food Advisory Committee. However, this is something, when you say real food, we have a lot of people on campus that have dietary restrictions. And believe it or not, there are more non-vegan, non-vegetarian options for students than there are, the other way around. So there are plenty of options for you. But we can definitely look into getting more for people who don't have those dietary restrictions. But the people right now who don't have a lot are vegan, vegetarians, pescatarians. So that's why you see not real food. Can we have a huge concert in the stadium for Spring Fling? And get a famous person to come and sing. Charge admission to the public and students at discounted rate. Good way to make money. So we definitely agree. And we've actually had famous people come and perform. The big thing right now is COVID. With COVID being a thing and an issue, that's something that COOP has been looking into, but we have to know if we're allowed to do that. Is it safe to do something like that? And who will we have perform with the budget? I'm not sure if you were here, but we did have Megan Thee Stallion in November of 2019, which was super nice, but this was pre-COVID times. So this is something that we can definitely mention to COOP, but I do know he has been looking at a performer coming on campus. There have been multiple instances where a student has tested negative through lane testing, but are actually positive. Being that the rapid tests are not the most reliable, what can be done to get more accurate results on campus? So I believe this is a question that Jeff Graham could possibly answer.
Thanks, Ariana. I'd be glad to speak briefly about this. So, yeah, so I mean, if you're looking at any of the research, you can see that there's a difference between the point of care test, which is a rapid antigen that we use. We use a specific product called an Abbott from a company called Abbott, which is a Binex product, and it allows us to rapidly test people in a systematic way to get quick feedback within 15 minutes. Test the actual usefulness of a test, if you pay attention to the literature, is measured by the positive sequence of the test is measured by sensitivity, the negative sequence is measured by specificity. And tests have different levels. These tests tend to be very accurate when having symptomatic folks. So if you have symptoms, the accuracy of the rapid antigen is fairly high. If you're asymptomatic positive, they're less high. Through our test center, we ask that everybody that comes through the test center is non-symptomatic. So if you have symptoms, you should be using the Brady Health Center rather than using the test center, mainly because we want to be able to give the appropriate medical feedback and to be able to look at other comorbidity conditions like colds, allergies, strep throat, maybe administer other points of care tests through Brady Health. So that's one of the reasons why we have that process. I can't respond to the word multiple incidents because that's really something that would have to be defined from Brady. Anecdotally, I don't know of any of these incidents, but that doesn't mean they don't happen. That doesn't mean that somebody maybe went through and did a rapid test and it was negative and then went to a primary care provider or somebody external to the institution and had a positive result. We would consider that a kind of a one-off situation. But when you look at really the positive predictive values of the test, which is another way to measure success, okay? So the sensitivity and specificity are measurements of the usefulness of a test, but the proportion of people who actually test positive is measured by predictive value. So they tend to be very high. These tests are quite accurate. The positive predictive values for symptomatic people are nearly 100%. If you have symptoms and you test properly according to how we instruct the test, and you have a positive, it's likely that if you're positive, you're going to have a positive result 99 to 100% of the time. The negative predictive values also depend on whether you're symptomatic or asymptomatic. They're lower among asymptomatic people, which means people that really don't know they have symptoms, and they're still about 91%. So I would take 90 percentile accuracy in any kind of test, whether it be a strep, a strep test, a flu test, any of these kind of things that are point of care tests. They're not 100% accurate among all categories of symptomatic and asymptomatic people, but they're in the 90 percentile, and that's pretty good. The real benefit of what we're doing is consistent with what's recommended for institutions of higher ed by the CDC, as well as the State Department of Health. They've kind of gave their stamp of approval for institutions of higher ed to do these kind of tests, mainly because it allows you to quickly identify and then subsequently isolate somebody in a larger population or a congregate population like a university is, who is positive. That's the whole benefit of this kind of test environment, is to quickly identify that person and quickly isolate the person. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question is there a way, or will there be a way, to apply for more money? So I'm going to assume that you're talking about CARES Act funding, and for that, I would ask either Dr. Travis or Nowaczyk to chime in because I am not sure.
I can answer that, Ariana. At this point, we based as you know, Ariana, we brought this to SGA for their review, and we have a formula that's based on expected family contribution, those where if you fill out the FAFSA and you have a higher expected family contribution and lower unmet need, you're going to get less money than those that have a higher unmet need and lower expected family contribution. We did, in fact, give money to even those who did not fill out a FAFSA. And so that's where that $250 is coming in at. We do not plan to, unless somebody says this is wrong. I mean, I didn't get it in what I filled out the FAFSA or whatever. We're not going to at this point have additional appeal kinds of things for additional money. I think the awards go anywhere from $250 to $1,750, I believe. Yeah. And so that's the range, and that's what we're doing this year in terms of how we're distributing it. Dr. Travis could talk about the emergency money. It's not as big of a pot of money, but there is some other monies that are available. But we're going to stick with the plan that we developed and reviewed with the Student Government Association for this semester.
And I think President Ward and some of the other students know every time I get a microphone, I try to encourage folks to give to the Student Affairs Crisis Emergency Fund. There is that fund that was set up again prior to the pandemic. The only issue is it's for an immediate emergency or crisis, and the maximum that we give out is $500. And that is determined by a committee of 8 people that review the request. I don't have a vote in it, but the committee has a vote in it. And again, it's for immediate crises to try to help our students over a hump. Not the parking humps, but over a hump.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nowaczyk and Dr. Travis. Can the parking lot by Frost be turned into student parking? So this has been an ongoing complaint, and we have actually been working on this. So as of right now, it does not look like that can happen. However, we are looking at another alternative, potentially having students being able to park at the police station, which is right next to it. So it would be easier and it would be just as effective. I'm sorry? Right. So to answer your question, parking by Frost, it does not look like it can be turned into student parking. But we will still continue to try. Can we please have effective concrete speeding bumps put in place? The ones currently in place are damaging. So this is a complaint that we did not know about. I know these speed bumps are new. This is a complaint that we can definitely work on in SGA. We can talk about this with, who put them in? Student Affairs, our Student Affairs chair. We can definitely discuss this, but I believe that the speed bumps that we have right now, I know that they were put in place because we had a big speeding issue, and I believe that they put those specific ones because it definitely makes you go to like almost a complete stop. So I think that's really a big safety concern. So I don't think that that would be as effective, but we can definitely look into it. Can only upperclassmen, juniors, and seniors be allowed to drive? The overflow lot is 90% full. I'm sorry, it went away. Oh, 90% full, and space is very hard to find. It is very ridiculous. So basically having sophomores and freshmen lose the ability to drive. That is a complaint that we also got, and we're definitely talking about this with Student Affairs in our meeting tomorrow on Friday. That's something we're going to mention. But more or less, we would like to just have more other alternatives opposed to revoking freshmen and sophomores the ability to drive, having more parking available to other students, maybe student workers. This is something that we've been working on in SGA. So if more student workers can be eligible to park in other places, it would open up more black lot spaces for other students. So that is something that we're working on because we do recognize that there is a parking issue. No underclassmen, freshies / sophomores driving at all, so more space is available. So this is the same thing. We're looking into potentially having just more parking spaces available, not revoking freshmen and sophomores the ability to drive. Will there be a way to apply for more CARES Act money What is 250 going to do towards my bills? So this is something that someone else just asked from Dr. Nowaczyk. As of right now, the CARES Act money that you have received is what you have received for this semester. And the way it was distributed, I do understand that we got a lot of complaints today that students who may have gotten more in the past got less, and that students who never got any before got some today, $250. And SGA did have some contribution to this decision. We felt that it was best for all students, maybe not all that show financial FAFSA need to have access to some money, because some people need that money that may not show the need on FAFSA. So that did cut from the funding that happened. But essentially, we do believe that we made the best decision for the entire student body. 4 people in quarantine need better timing to get their food delivered. Being delivered at 3 p.m. is ridiculous. So this is something that we can maybe discuss with Jeff Graham, Student Affairs, the timing for delivery. Jeff Graham, do you want to put any input on this?
Yeah, thanks, Ariana. So, I've made note of your concern. So I see the comment there. We're fortunate. We've had a very small number of people in university quarantine. We've actually only had 1 person in isolation and 5 in quarantine. So this is something I can talk to our food service partners at Chartwells about and see if we can do bump that back a bit. One of their challenges is they have a catering staff that's responsible for that, along with other responsibilities in terms of the other 3 sites on campus, the Chesapeake and the Appalachian Station and the sub shop. So I will address that and see if we can do a little better there. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, can we have effective concrete? Oh, so this is an addition to the question before about the speed bumps, or may we please get signs? I think that signs are definitely something that we can do. I think that's definitely effective, letting people know that speed bumps are coming. The next question is, do you save these virtual meetings? If not, can y'all start, please? It looks like that has been answered. So they are saved and they can be viewed from the link that is added in the chat. And I believe that was the last question as of right now.
What's the specific?
So seeing that there are no questions, if there are any students paying attention right now, the NAACP is having a speed dating event tonight in Compton 327 at 7 p.m. Please attend. This is going to be a very fun event for you to find a boo. So yes, please attend. It's good. Relationship season. And I will be hosting it with other members of SGA, the Senate Finance Committee to be specific. Come out. Another thing to plug in, this weekend is family weekend. My family will be here. So I hope everyone else is potentially having their family here. It'll be a lot of fun events. There's also a football game this Saturday. And we do have an SGA meeting at 7:30 p.m. in Atkinson next Thursday. So come out and support. Why is there no homecoming, but we have family weekend and alumni coming up? So I'm assuming that this is a COVID-related question with the protocol, because we don't have a homecoming dance. We do have homecoming. We do not have a homecoming dance because of what we were told, COVID protocol. So I'm assuming this will be a question for Jeff Graham on why, or Dr. Travis.
I can certainly try to answer part of the question. Of course, the size and nature of the events are controlled by COVID rules. There will be activities and events for alums and there will also be activities and events for the students. I met with the homecoming chair a couple weeks ago and told the homecoming chair whatever support we can give to support the student events, we will. There will be some events on the campus. The only event that is in question right now is the dance, but there will be homecoming events. And again, as far as COVID protocols, those will be followed, just like this weekend for Parents Weekend. A notice went out to the students and to the parents to mask up, to keep their distance where they can. But there will be homecoming activities here in Frostburg on homecoming weekend.
Okay. The next question is, BSA is having a Lido's fundraiser until 9 p.m. tonight. Visit the social media for the flyer to present. Thank you, Savannah. Yes, you guys go to Lido's and support BSA. The next question is, can you announce associate justice positions open? Yes, I will, Dylan. So if you're interested in being a part of SGA in a way, you could become an associate justice under the chief justice position, which is new in SGA. If you're interested, please apply. You can email Miss Kathy Perkins, or you can look on our SGA Instagram to DM us for more information, or you can just ask for our application through Kathy Perkins. Can y'all make a new parking lot? Rip out Cambridge and make a huge lot for parking connecting it to Brownsville lot. So this can definitely be something we could bring to the parking committee as a potential solution. It doesn't hurt to ask. That's a good suggestion. How is it safe to even think about holding a homecoming dance where people will definitely not wear their mask? That's a valid point. I don't think it is possible to socially distance or have an effective COVID protocol with a homecoming dance, considering there will be a lot of people in a small room dancing. So that is why homecoming dance isn't happening.
And I appreciate your comments about that, Madam President, because again, there are a number of concerns, particularly concerns that are coming from SGA at times. You know, SGA is, you know, I get out and about to see the students as much as I possibly can. I've been to lectures, I've been to other events, and the students are masking up. But I'm also not on campus 24 hours a day, and I hear from SGA that, you know, there are times that students aren't wearing masks. So, you know, clearly that is a concern about having a dance. Now, you know, students may have had concerns about the fact that we have football, we have other things, but again, all those are events and activities that are controlled. They're outside, but again, the idea of having an indoor event where it would be people that are not, may or may not be vaccinated, will be, well, when I grew up, we used to dance very close to each other. So I haven't been to a dance lately. So I don't know if they're close to each other or not, but I would just cringe to see folks pulling their masks down, folks getting hot and sweaty, and just creating a possibility of a super spreader event. So I do appreciate just your voice and other SGA leaders' voice in saying that it's probably not the best idea to have. But if there was a way to do that, we could certainly try. Because as I said to the students, the answer always is not no. But is there a legitimate health protocol, safety way of doing something? And I don't suspect that having, you know, blue lights in the basement. Oh, that was when I grew up. Having close dancing and all this other kind of stuff that happens at dance happening, and that we wouldn't create some possibility of a spreader event. So thank you, SGA. I owe you, and we'll try to work on a big concert for the springtime.
Also, I want to add that we have a very good homecoming representative in SGA, Brianne, and she is working really hard. I understand that everybody wants a dance, and we understand the homecoming dance is like the most lit part. And we're looking for alternatives to make sure it's still COVID safe and still fun. And we're still working on it. So give suggestions, but complaints with suggestions. Like, what would you rather see? And also understand that it's COVID. People don't want to get sick. But why can't we have an outside COVID safe dance of parents who we don't know their vaccination status? So this is in addition to the question you asked before, with families coming on campus, and we don't know their vaccination status, but we can't have an outside COVID safe dance. So I will say that an outside COVID safe dance is something that we are looking into. To add, why are parents that we don't know their vaccination status allowed to come on campus? That is something that we can ask, student affairs, the protocol with Family Weekend, and Jeff Graham.
And also, whoever made the question, remember that we have been sending out a lot of messaging. So we are hoping that the students that are bringing their families on the campus, one, I would hope that if they know that their parents are not vaccinated, that they clearly follow the COVID rules by keeping their mask on, and also by keeping a distance. I have a lot of faith in all of our students that they will always try to do the right thing. So I don't suspect that our Bobcats would willfully bring somebody onto the campus and create a spreader event. I have a lot of faith and trust in this community that students, in most cases, 99.999% of all of our students always want to do the right thing. And I would hate to be the one that brought a parent here, knew that the parent was not vaccinated, knew that they were symptomatic, and created a situation. I have a lot of faith and trust in our student government. I have a lot of faith and trust in all of our Bobcats that they would not intentionally do wrong to hurt this university. As I've said at every occasion I can, for our student leaders and for our Bobcats, do everything you can to speak up and speak out, but don't do anything to intentionally harm the place that you love, the place that's your home, and the place that you're going to walk out of here with a degree and be proud of and make other people proud of you.
Thank you, Dr. Travis. Can you add stop signs at crosswalks? I have almost been hit by a car when crossing because it's clear to walk, and then the cars come flying through, almost hitting pedestrians walking. I will definitely look into this because I almost got hit too. College students can't drive, so I will definitely look into that. I would like to see that happen, and I will work on this. Dylan said thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Mariana, let me add to that. We are going to paint the crosswalks. Right now, it's a supply issue. We cannot get paint that has the materials in there for the crosswalks, but it's on order, and the police chief is aware of it. We are going to be putting better lighting in, but I will also mention it, and Ariana, please feel free to mention it to the chief, but I'll mention to the chief, maybe we'll bolster our patrols during the day through there, which means warning to people, don't speed when you're going through there. You'll end up with a ticket.
I think that definitely could be effective because I'm not sure if you guys know, but like the little police monitor hangout spot is like right by Edgewood, and that's where everyone slows down because they don't want to get a ticket. So maybe to avoid getting hit, have somebody watching. Is there a reason why food is more limited but prices are rising? How can we address this? So I'm going to answer this with COVID. I'm not sure if you're talking about in the university or just in general, but I'm not sure if anyone goes to eat at like Gianni's and you can get like $8 wings with like your the meal deal, but now it's like $14. It's because of the supply shortages due to the pandemic. So then they had to like raise the prices because it costs more to get the food. So that's my answer for that. And any one of the staff members on here want to add to it, but that's what I believe is happening. That's what I know is happening. Is there a way we can have an outdoor dance in Upper Quad? We have tightly knit, we had a tightly knit convocation, football games, and the campus was originally planning to have a cookout. There are ways to accommodate and regulate security measures. So this is similar to the questions that were asked before. We are looking into having an outdoor dance because from what I understand, a lot of you students are saying, hey, we're having other outdoor events. Why can't we have this type of outdoor events? And we hear you, which is why we're looking into it.
Can I comment on that also? Okay, and maybe it's appropriate, maybe it's not appropriate, but I think there's a FOMO factor right now. And part of that FOMO factor, the fear of missing out, is that there are some students that aren't vaccinated. There are some students supposedly that have fake cards. There are some students that won't follow the rules and regulations. You know, when I leave home, when me and Jeff and Carl and Robin leave this office every day, the biggest thing and the thing that we always think about is we hope that we've done everything to do everything we can to help and provide for the safety of our students. You know, so one of the issues with an outdoor dance again is that we don't know, and there may be some folks that have some fake vaccination cards or what have you and could do that. These are just on the surface level. Some of the things that Alan and Coop and Bill Mandicott have to think through as they are putting together a risk management plan. You know, so so I wish all the students would not have that fear of missing out, and I wish all the students would get their vaccines unless they have an exemption, and do things to make sure that you're protecting your other Bobcats.
Thank you, Dr. Travis. Homecoming dance on the football field. We can mention that to Brianne, our homecoming rep. I 100% support no homecoming dance. Thank you, Gianni. Understandable. If we cannot have a homecoming dance, why are we bringing outside people such as families and alumni who we may know of their vaccination status? Who we may know of their vaccination status. If it is a matter of indoor feasibility, why not have it outside? So this goes back to Dr. Travis.
I think we've said enough on that at this point. As I've said, the Lane University Center team, and I'm trying to keep the president up to date. Also, we will talk with the students, and if there is a plausible, reasonable way to have some alternative function, I don't have a problem with that. But again, I fear a super spreader event, particularly when we have what's going on out there right now. But again, we will continue to talk. I'll talk with Brianna, we'll talk with Lauren, we'll talk with whoever that SGA assigns to work on that to see if there's a way to do something. Because again, the thing that what I'm hearing, of course, again, is there are student leaders that saying it doesn't make sense. There are some students that say, well, why doesn't it make sense? So we've got to come down somewhere where the biggest thing is we have to do what is safe and what we think is safe. The COVID, the response and recovery team, they've been meeting for 18 months to try to make sure that we're doing the best we can to make sure we have a safe campus. So, I will have to take the hit if it's no homecoming dance. I will do that because at the end of the day, I want to make sure I'm doing everything to help and assist, make sure that our students are safe because they're part of this community, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you. How are people expected to wear a mask at the homecoming dance and they didn't at the after dark event? That is a very good point. So you have some people who are concerned they don't want homecoming dances, and you have people who do. Very valid arguments. And that you don't know the vax. Yes.
Yes. Make sure students that are writing in or whatever. When you see something, please say something. Just like the chief would want to know. If you see something that's happening, say something so we can address it in the moment. It doesn't help us try to address late night at Lane today when it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. So if you see something, say something, particularly over in the Lane Center. We got some outstanding students that are managers that work there, that if you let them know that something is astray, something is wrong, in the same sense with our RAs in the residence hall. We've got a great team of student leaders, of student employees that work around this campus. If you see something, say something. Or again, we still have the student affairs at Frostburg telephone number and email that you can let us know also.
Thank you, Dr. Travis. You don't know the vaccination status of your neighbor. That is true. How would an outdoor dance be safe though? Oh, they're still talking about they're going back and forth about that, so I'm going to skip those. How can we be sure about the vaccination status when students are selling fake vaccine cards across campus? So the fake vaccine cards situation is something that we've already discussed. We've already let that be aware to a lot of faculty. We explained this in a meeting that we had about last week. We are aware of students selling fake vaccine cards. And what I would like to say is if you see someone selling a fake vaccine card, please alert Chief Smith or the campus police. Let that be known, because that is also, that's a crime. So please share that information. What service animal?
Excuse me, Ariana, that can be done too. The chief said it can be done anonymously. Call 687-STOP, S-T-O-P, and you can leave an anonymous voice message with the information, and the police will follow up.
What service animals are allowed on campus? I saw a student with a piglet walking around campus. I lost my mind when I saw it late at night near Chesapeake. So I'm pretty sure there's a wide variety of emotional support animals, but to be sure, please ask your RA because they would know. Also, just to throw this out there, you have to be certified to have your service animals. A lot of people will have animals that they just bring from home and they're not certified. You're not allowed to do that. Everyone on campus is either vaccinated or get tested twice a week. So why is an outside dance not an option? Yet alumni and guests who aren't required to comply with those restrictions allowed to on our campus just because they wear a mask. So we went over this, like Dr. Travis said a couple times. Can we add speed bumps at the crosswalks? We're looking at adding signs, but we can definitely have the conversation about adding speed bumps. Skip that one. Can students in Brownsville Hall have more temperature control? It be cold. Also, last year the air was on in the winter. So this is definitely something that we can talk about at the RHA meeting, which we will be attending. Talking about Brownsville, because this was something that was mentioned at the town hall, that there is temperature issues with Brownsville Hall. What is the asymptomatic surveillance testing protocol for student athletes, and do unvaccinated student athletes have to take additional measures? So this could be a question for Jeff Grant.
Thank you. So vaccinated student athletes are in the same protocol that everybody else is. The CDC does not recommend regular symptomatic or regular surveillance testing of individuals who are vaccinated. So they're students in the same boat as all the other students. Any student athlete with an authorized exemption. So keep in mind, we don't have anyone that is not either vaccinated. And of course, our student vaccination rate is 87.8%, which is phenomenal. But we don't have anybody on campus who is out of our 3,000 and I think it's 10. I'm trying to find the number. Folks that come to students that come to campus regularly, they're either vaccinated or have an authorized exemption. So those student athletes, which actually is a smaller percentage of the population than our regular campus, so the student athlete vaccination rates are very high, and they are actually on a elevated protocol depending on whether they're in season or out of season. But they test twice a week if they're just like everybody else, and if they're In season, they actually, and it may be all of them, but they test 2 or 3 times a week. I believe the in-season athletes have to test 3 times a week. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, will the results of the UCDEI's campus survey be public? So I'm not sure, so I will ask Dr. Travis.
That I think I better kick that to the president.
Yes, we're planning on making those things public. I have asked Robin to summarize it. It's 47 pages from what I remember seeing in some of the information, but to create a summary of the information and put it out there. It's baseline for us, and we can do this survey on a regular basis or some defined basis and be able to get a sense of what the campus climate is like as we move forward. So yes, it will be made public.
Okay, I am going to skip the next question because it's already been discussed. What qualifies a student or faculty member for vaccine exemption? So that can be brought to Jeff Graham.
Thank you. So again, we're kind of already past the exemption phase. Again, a lot of people, a lot of constituents, whether they're employees or students who initially applied for one of the 2 authorized exemptions, have actually chose to get vaccinated. That's why our vaccination rates continue to go up, because a lot of folks who initially weren't getting vaccinated have decided to get vaccinated. So the rates continue to move a bit in a good direction. Of course, we probably know that under the 1964 Civil Rights Act, part of that is the ability to and also constitutional protections for religious freedom. A religious exemption is an approved federal exemption. So a person can apply for a religious exemption if they have strong religious beliefs against vaccination. And then secondly, is a medical exemption. So an individual can get a signature from one of their healthcare providers who say that they have a condition that prevents them from getting vaccinated at this point. So there's a variety of those conditions, and that requires a signature from a healthcare provider. Thank you.
The next question, what measures are being taken to ensure professors are being disciplined about not wearing a mask in class? Students may be afraid to speak up due to retaliation. So are academic offices doing anything to ensure their professors are following protocol? So, is this a question for Mike Mathias? Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Ariana. Thanks. Yeah, so a faculty member or any employee of the university is required to follow the same masking policy that we have universally across campus. And if anybody is violating that policy on a regular basis, particularly if it's a faculty member, the student could report that to the department chair. Again, if they have worries about approaching the department chair about the issue, they can approach the college dean about the issue. Or if they want to get directly in touch with my office, provost@frostburg.edu, and we can follow up on the issue there. So anyone that's not following the masking policy on the employee side will receive a corrective action report, and we certainly are following up on that.
Thank you. The next question is, can y'all put a gate around campus to prevent bears? This is actually kind of funny. Well, no, this is their home. But I believe that this bear here is friendly. In the SGA office, we have named him Charles. Charles is a nice bear. Leave Charles alone. People keep burning so much crap in Brownsville kitchen and it smells like the building is on fire. Can something be done about this? So are you saying that, is it like fire alarms are going off, or whatever they're cooking, it smells like it's burning? If it's something that they're cooking that smells like it's burning, then I don't think that anything could be done about that. But that is definitely something you can mention to your RA. But if it's like something like, oh, this person keeps on making the fire alarm come off, then, you know, that's something still mentioned to your RA. There's a professor who calls Black students by the white name equivalent. Will something be done if reported, or is this a Missy Marts 2.0? So in regards to that professor, please file this report. So I believe Ms. Weiner will follow up with you. This is a, you know, the hate bias report that you can find online about this professor. Oh, go ahead.
What is a white name equivalent?
I'm not really sure. So I'm assuming pronouncing it incorrectly.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever anonymous is, it will be helpful if
Specify.
It will, yeah, as the SGA president said, file a hate bias crime if you think it's a hate bias crime, and maybe I can look up in Google what a white name equivalent is. That's new to me.
Ariana, just in terms of the process, if the person types in reporting an incident in our search page, it will pop up the appropriate procedures for reporting the concern, reporting an incident in the search space there.
Okay. Okay, so that's another speed bump. And so we did answer that. We are looking into that, the speed bump issue. Maybe not necessarily changing the entire speed bumps, but maybe putting a sign that lets people know that the speed bump is coming. Because I've seen people go over the speed bump really fast and then their cars get messed up. I think it's because they're so small, you can't really tell sometimes, especially when it's dark outside. So maybe having more lighting and or some signs that let you know so you can slow down. May we host more grad school fairs and provide more resources school-wide? So this is something that I believe SGA can definitely help with. We want to do something more for grad students. So we can definitely add that to our agenda. Also, Jeff Graham.
Thank you. So yeah, and I would also say that, you know, anyone can talk to Amy Shimko. She's the Director of Career and Professional Development in Pullen Hall. And she'd be glad to talk to you more about grad school opportunities. Unfortunately, this fall we're having, there'll be more information coming out about it. Our career fair is a career and grad school fair, and it's for undergraduate and graduate students or students who want to go to graduate schools. And traditionally, we do have a number of grad schools that attend those events. So there is an opportunity there to interface with some graduate schools. And we can also do individual connections. That's one of the challenges of sometimes being at a smaller school too, or smaller to mid-sized school, is we don't have as many opportunities as potentially a larger school. There's lots of advantages as well, but there is one of the disadvantages is for us to attract a lot of grad schools to come here for a grad school fair. But as SGA thinks about it, have a conversation with Amy Shimko. She'd be delighted to speak with you about it. Thank you.
And Ariana, my office would be happy to be involved in that conversation as well. So our Office of Graduate Services and the Provost's office generally would be very happy to work with you all to get students more information about graduate studies.
Great, we will be in contact. Y'all need better staff working at Chesapeake and Appalachian Station. There's some rude people working there. So my response to this, if you've experienced any type of hate, again, I would say report it, make sure that it's reported. Also, if it's something specific with a staff member, Miss Pam Dietrich, she loves to be in the know with these types of things. Please, please, please contact her and talk to her, because she would be able to help you, and she's definitely the person who you'd want to let know this type of stuff is happening. But make sure that you're reporting and saying something, because we leave breadcrumbs so we can know that these things are happening. How are those unvaccinated being held accountable for getting tested 2 times a week? I have heard unvaccinated students only receiving a general email but no direct follow-up, and heard some unvaccinated people who skip out on testing due to this. Jeff Graham.
Thank you. So we have this semester we're tracking very seriously the folks. It's a smaller number of folks with authorized exemptions who are required to test twice a week, and we track that every Thursday evening or Monday morning. I specifically track that and communicate directly with those students, and it's a week-to-week process. So if you have tested for the first 4 weeks and missed week 5, we'll notice that you missed week 5 and we'll reach out to you. There's another question here coming down, almost the same thing. And so an example is we have a 5-step process for folks who are not testing as scheduled. The first step is a verbal warning, which basically is a written email from me. The second step is a disciplinary reprimand, which is a written reprimand, as well as a $25 judicial fine. The third step is the completion of an online educational module on decision making and a $50 judicial programs fine. The fourth step is a disciplinary probationary period for 1 year and a $100 judicial fine. And the fifth step is, if you're an on-campus student, removal from housing, as well as a disciplinary suspension. So it's a reasonable 5-step process. It sounds serious because we hope that it sounds serious, because we want people to test. If you have an authorized exemption, we want you to test. And we have a parallel process for employees who have authorized exemptions as well. That's managed by Human Resources. Student Affairs manages the disciplinary process through the Dean of Students, but I'm the one that actually tracks it week to week, and we're very reasonable about it, but we also are serious about the expectation. We do have single-digit students who have, meaning less than 10, who have reached step 3, and also single digits who've reached step 2. So most people, when we give them a warning, they're coming back to testing. The challenge we also have to understand is that we, in Student Affairs, we like to be reasonable, and we also like to offer a little bit of grace from time to time. And students, just like anybody, have lots of reasons why they may miss a week. They may have been ill themselves. They may have had a commitment at home. They might miss class an entire week. They might be participating in an internship or a temporary externship or something like that. So there are lots of communications that occur, whether it's through email, personal phone calls from me to the students, or text messages. So we are very serious about following that up, and folks aren't really they're not falling through the cracks for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. People are belligerently drunk in Brownsville. What's the alcohol rule in dorms? Some nights these super drunk people are cooking and burning things, and that's a huge fire hazard. So we have just heard about the Brownsville issue with the burning smells. As far as the drunk people drinking alcohol in dorms, I believe.
I'm an RA. The official policy on having alcohol in dorms, you're not allowed to do it unless you're not allowed to have alcohol in your dorm room unless you are 21 years old. And if you do have alcohol in your dorm room, you cannot have anyone under the age of 21 in your room with it.
Thank you, Lucas. And with the drunk issue in Brownsville, so as far as people over drinking, something that we've noticed, it is something that we've noticed on campus. So SJ will be having a week of alcoholism forums, just spreading facts about it and the concerns and things of that nature on our page, educating students on the issues with being an alcoholic, because we've seen a lot of alcoholism and issues related to alcohol drinking on campus, even with those who are 21 and over. Is vaping allowed on campus? Many people are vaping since smoking is not allowed. Vaping is not smoking. So I would like to say vaping is still considered smoking and we're a smoke-free campus, but I will go to Dr. Travis to.
Vaping is not allowed on the campus.
Yes, Frostburg is a smoke-free campus. So the next question is, what are the consequences for unvaccinated students if they do not get tested? So Jeff Graham did just go over this with the whole fine and everything like that. My advice, follow the rules. You don't have to pay money. We're in college. We do not have that much money to spend. People in the billing office are as rude as can be. They look like they hate their jobs. And if I go in there, I feel uncomfortable because they look like they hate the students that come in or call. I was there the other day and had this experience. Then another billing person was yelling at someone on the phone about their bills and stuff. So if you've experienced something directly, again, I would say report. I'm not really sure. Dr. Travis, would this be something that people can bring to student affairs, the attitude of billing office staff?
They could, and we would direct them to the supervisor, and or the vice president responsible for that area. And don't be afraid if faculty or if staff are rude to our students. We need to know, again, we need to know in real time so we can address it. If anybody is rude to our students in student affairs, I want to know, because again, it's not our role and responsibility to be bringing issues, our own personal private issues to work, because we never know when something may set a student off, when something will turn a student off. We want to make sure that you have the best customer service possible. And we can say no without being mean or hurtful or harmful. So if it's student affairs, let me know, let Jeff know, or Carl know. And if it's a professor, let the provost know. But we need to know in real time when these things happen in order for us to try to address it. And it's never appropriate for a staff person to yell at a student. It's never appropriate.
Agreed. Thank you, Dr. Travis. The last question is, Jeff Graham said the COVID-19 pandemic was that bad and once called it a hoax. Why is he allowed to run COVID-19 procedures with that thinking? I can't confirm this, Jeff Graham.
Yeah, so thanks, Ariana, and I appreciate the comment. I would suggest that anyone who took away from a conversation with me, first of all, I can guarantee it wasn't a personal conversation, or took away from any kind of large group presentation. I would say that I've never used the word hoax to describe it. I've actually had COVID, so there I've just disclosed that, so I know it's not a hoax back in December last year. So what you're going to get from me about COVID is candid information. You're going to get data and more data and lots of data. And if someone felt like I was minimizing the serious nature of COVID, certainly feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to have a friendly conversation with you. We can sit down and have that conversation. But you're always going to get some real kind of candid data responses from me, looking at case rates, looking at rates of infection, looking at mortality, morbidity rates. You're going to get a lot of information. You're not just going to get the 20-minute or the 20-second news clip that you often get. You're going to get a lot of information. So, certainly feel free, any student who's listening, to reach out. I'd love to sit down with you or speak with any kind of student group and have some candid conversations about it. Thank you.
Well said. That was the last question. So I believe this is my first time, so I'm sorry. I believe I say goodbye to everyone. Is that right? Is there any closing remarks from any faculty? No? All right, so everyone have a good and safe day. Go to speed dating tonight, 7, count to 3:27. Bye.